The stats that you guys have, I didn't expect.
May the
So I only printed 10
10th,
of them.
2022.
And if you look at it, it's a bunch of zeros, right?
Mostly.
So it's not much. The only thing year to date I see here, aggravated assault, 1. 4 B&Bs year to date, a theft, and 6 cars were stolen. No shoplifting. Not much. When I look at the stats since March, we only had 3. So that's not bad either. And then it was just B&B, a theft, and a stolen car. And I looked up the report. The first B&B was a guy sitting in his truck, construction site on Brockbank. While he was sitting there, he observed someone reach into his the back of the truck, go into a cooler, and steal an energy drink.
Oh, dear.
What do you guys think that is?
Misdemeanor?
But if he had priors,
Oh.
people said, oh, that guy was arrested just for taking an energy drink. So when they look for his background, oh, it's enhanceable. So it's going to cost them more than with the energy
That's
drink.
just hard.
But they caught him.
Yeah.
Good deal.
That's amazing.
Surprisingly.
Good work.
Yeah,
You know, it's a miracle
Second-
somebody saw him do it.
right. The theft was what was this on Brockbank also. The complainant heard noises in the backyard. When he looked, someone was taking some
I think
firewood.
that's a burglary, isn't it, or a...
So this one's good. You hear somebody in the backyard, oh, there's a guy taking some wood. Let me go get my shotgun and shoot.
Oh, no! Did they?
Yeah. He didn't hit him, but he
Oh,
shot
that's good.
at him with a shotgun.
Did you get the firewood?
That's
So
kinda
he
drastic.
scared him off.
Yeah, that scared him.
Oh, I bet
But
so.
it takes a while around that, doesn't it?
The helicopter came by, a bunch of police looking to see if they find him dead.
And it was okay that he shot his shotgun?
So it's on their own.
The complainant thinks he didn't hit him, so there was no trail of blood or evidence. But it scared the guy. So make sure you don't take no firewood from home.
Well, can
The
you
car
talk-
was stolen was a Ford worth $3,500. That was it.
Now, can you talk about
We got stupid crooks.
the castle law? I mean, what are the rules regarding firing at people on your property?
During the day, you could get charged because you have to give them the opportunity to leave. Now, during the hours of darkness, it's different. You know,
Can't see where they are.
so
What's the cause for uptick of all the gunfire?
the cause of all the gunfire.
You're hearing a lot.
We're hearing a lot, and I've called it in. There were 3 episodes.
Last week too, when I was in here.
No, it's been a couple weeks ago, but I called 3 times in one night within an hour.
Yeah,
And
and we
they
know.
weren't just bang, bang. They were bang, 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 bang. 5 minutes later, bang, 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 bang.
And what do you guys think my answer is going to be?
You don't know.
Call it in.
911. Keep calling 911.
Oh, yeah.
It's a deal, and it's not only in your area, it's throughout the whole city. And the way you guys have seen, the chief he's very vocal about things he doesn't like. If y'all have seen some of the stuff,
Yes.
I think we got 3 to 5 officers indicted on that on the bridge deal, where we're doing some protest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me give you an example. If I'm trained to deal with a protest of people throwing rocks, bottles, should I just expose myself and get injured? So our training is we got different tools to different levels. So if I'm shooting a rubber gun at you, I'm not pointing at your face, but if you move, what happens? Or it could hit you in the face.
Yeah.
Was it intentional?
No.
I don't think. If you're shooting at a moving target and you hit where you're not supposed to hit, it's intentional. So anyways, I don't want to get into politics and all that stuff, but
Oh, I know it's
3 to 5 officers got indicted for that.
All right.
Or shooting rubber guns? I missed that somehow.
Well,
No, it's been in the news.
If it was wrong, it's wrong, because we're not above the law, right? But
Guy wants
That's
design.
encouraging candidates to join the force.
yeah, we gotta look at the whole totality of the situation. With the guns, with the shooting, if you're calling it, you're doing the right thing, we come out, verify there's nobody dead, and just do a report. How can you deter gun shooting?
Do we know if it's two on
Gangs
two,
and
or-
stuff
yeah,
like
or
that?
just
No,
shooting, or?
it's just people driving by and shooting.
Okay.
Driving by and shooting in a house.
If they're driving by and shooting a house, that changes the whole picture.
But most of it's up in the air.
Most of it at the air.
Or
Because
if one stop sign is
if they're driving by and you hear the shots, and that person's house or apartment that gets shot at is gonna call police, right? And there should be a report. So if nothing's there, no one's calling, it doesn't mean that it didn't happen, then you shoot somebody. Not really, because people just decide, police ain't gonna do anything. What am I gonna get out? You know, different mentalities, because I know you guys don't think the same and agree to everything. So, but if it's not here, if it's in the system you called it, it gets somebody's attention. What are they gonna do? What is a solution for that?
Visibility.
Everybody could come up with, oh, why y'all don't
Here's
do
the
this,
problem.
why don't do that, why don't?
If you're in bed, just coast down to sleep and you hear them, if you actually get up and make a phone call, you're gonna wake up. You're already awake.
That's
Well,
a
no,
hassle.
I can turn over and go right back to sleep.
So if I sit there for 24/7, you think they will not shoot in the air?
Not near you.
But they will.
When they saw you.
Not if you were sitting.
So there's not like a perfect solution to it. I know the expectancy because I'd be the same way. I live in an apartment complex now, and I've lived in houses all my life. It's an experience.
Ooh, yeah.
So, and I'm the courtesy officer. So when I say I'm the courtesy officer for the property, what is your expectancy? What do you think I have to do?
Please be quiet.
Hmm?
Please be quiet.
Check
Nothing.
into it.
Nothing?
You can ask him.
At all if I don't want to, because I'm saving $20 a day on my rent, and I cannot take any action ununiformed. So if I approach you ununiformed, I'm police, I could probably arrest you, but the person's gonna try to fight me until anybody can say I'm police, right? How can you prove you're police? Okay, hold on, don't shoot at me.
My daughter had a tattoo of
It says
badge on her
police.
arm.
But we could be all day with different scenarios and different stuff, but it's an experience for me at the other side when I had a crime watch meeting and everybody's saying, well, you're gonna show up with a rifle and confront 4 or 5 people in a car. No. There's rules for everything. So he said, oh, you need to patrol? I do it out of courtesy because I'm not an hourly paid. So courtesy is the magic word. When I have time. Yes, Mr. Tim.
I got a question that's kind of both code and DPD. This strip shopping center at Webb Chapel in Largo, it's on the southwest side of that intersection. It's where the La Nueva Fresh and Hot, and on the corner there's a convenience store. And there's always people hanging out there drinking, and there's a trash can that's overflowed. So the owner, who lives in Frisco, doesn't want to spend the money, and I'm assuming to get more frequent trash pickup.
Right.
So you got the trash spilling out, and these folks there hanging out. I guess it's legal to hang out, but drinking on property of a TABC regulated.
Yeah, I know
Beverage.
exactly what you're saying. It's the ABC on Webb Chapel Road
ABC.
and Largo. And I've dealt with it for 21 years. We move them, they go across, they come back. When we go over there, whether it's, obviously you got, the violations you have is an open container, drinking in public, right? All the time.
So, in terms of what we can do, I wonder if you could help us with your contacts with the TABC to help us get the license renewal date for that ABC store, so we can file a complaint on their license renewal under the neighborhood nuisance section of TABC.
And that's a process as we talk.
So we
because
need-
it's not new. I think about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I'm not over that area anymore, but the officer that is asked me what he could do, and I told him just that. So they're going through TABC, and they have to go through their schedule. So it's like they make a list, and they'll come to Northwest and attack all these complaints the same way they did.
So can you get us the license renewal date or the license number?
Yeah, I could walk in there and look at it.
So we
Yeah.
can also, the communities, we've done this before successfully at 2900 Walnut Hill.
Yes.
And that whole shopping center got cleaned out because we started protesting their license, and they actually sent people down from Austin on that.
Right.
You remember 2900 was all the bars?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And
Yes.
they went after them on a neighborhood nuisance as the whole property, and based on police calls, et cetera. And so if code could check, make sure, when that trash can's overflowing for days and days at a time, I would think code could proactively do that. But then also, if you could help us, you could email me their information, I can get it going, we do an affidavit, it's a process. But
Yeah,
that owner of that store.
I'm
is not-
sure if there is not expired, if it was expired, I could go in there and close it myself, but if it's still open, that means they still have, but I'll check it, yeah.
That's great, because there is a renewal date, it's annual,
Mhm.
and we can file a complaint on the renewal. And if nothing else, get their attention. But that TABC, that ABC store,
Mm-hmm.
they're not trying.
No, they're not.
Cameras out there.
And
high
the city
prices.
attorney and code from our Northwest, they visited them also. So it's not that it's just sitting there when I do, it's a process. So I gotta check first. And I could walk in there and look at all their permits, I have no problem. So I wanna check with the city attorney at our station to see, where they're at.
Great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And
I'll do
can
that
I send you
tomorrow.
an email? Because I would like to get that
okay,
and I've tried on their website, it's
Mhm.
impossible to navigate if you don't know what you're doing.
yeah. But I'll get it.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I sure would be willing to show up for that hearing, because I know exactly which intersection that is, and that is.
And I know she knows about it too, and it's
And it's
been going
dangerous
on
because they
forever.
cross the street like,
So they're doing something to stay open, and when they get our attention, I want to believe, they give them time to do whatever, and they comply until they come back and do the same thing. Yes. I need a vacation.
That didn't take long.
Not a lot.
When you retire, you'll have one all full time.
Yeah. Anything else for me?
I have a question. I don't know if this is code, but at Walnut Hill and 35, there's a vacant lot there, and then there's like a truck, and there's tents, and it's not on a thoroughfare, it's actually on that parking lot.
Near the frontage.
And I don't have anything against homeless, but that looks like a community there. Is there any?
We have dealt with
We
that
already dealt with
since it's a private property. We dealt with it already, and they came back. We had the owner clean it up, and we had to be there to have all the homeless go somewhere else, and they're coming back.
It's not a fence though, that's the problem, they can just run it.
Now, I remember a great big homeless place was built downtown a bunch of years back. They were all those different types of homeless.
they
Is
said
that still existing, or is it successful at all?
it's taking too long. If you ask me, if it's still in process, because I haven't seen
Still
it.
building? I mean, I thought it was still there. I thought maybe it folded or didn't get funded
Yeah,
or
the
something.
bridge is still there.
Yes,
The
the
bridge is still there, and they're under the bridge, and every bridge you can see. But homeless is the social problem.
Well,
And
I'm just
Homeless
so grateful
Solution
I'm not
offers
one
them
of
help, but
But
they deny it.
That's the problem. We can't help people that don't want help.
I forget in what state there's signs in every intersection that if citizens give panhandlers money, it's a violation.
Yep.
So now, we cannot even touch them. They're out there literally with the sign. That's freedom of speech. They're in a meeting. If they go into the roadway, that's the only time, and they know. They asked me for money in my squad car. I'm like, how much money have you made? Give me that. I
Yeah.
have no cash.
Is that a state law or a city law or how?
It's a city ordinance, really, that we were enforcing for panhandling. And one of the homeless or several try to sue the city because that's, freedom of speech, they're just asking for money.
They don't have a house.
And we were told, do not mess with the homeless, the panhandlers. Which, not all of them are homeless.
Yeah, no.
Because I've seen them cross the street and get into a car better than I drive. So I should become panhandler.
No, they asked me for it today.
But thank you for your time.
Thank you, Officer Ali Sale.
Thank you.
Okay, speaking of code enforcement, we have, first of all, we have Marco from City Hall. Very good to see you, Marco.
Hey, Marco.
And then we have, not only do we have LaShawna, but we also have Odie Hayes, and I'll let LaShawna, do whatever introduction she wants to make.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Welcome back, welcome back. I'm LaShawna Spider, the neighborhood code rep of Northwest, currently serving as the interim supervisor now of Northwest. Glad to see you all back. I have with me my current manager, Ms. Odie Hayes.
Hello. Ms. Hayes.
Currently in your area, we have done sweeps over in your area of Newcastle.
And Alex, you know this.
You know this, great. So that's pretty much what we've been doing, just hitting the alleys. And if you all have any issues or concerns, please bring them to our attention. We're hitting them the best we can, as soon as we can. That's pretty much what we're working on right now, trying to catch the grass seasons before they get out of hand. And obstruction, you all are responsible from the front curb of your property to the half center of the alley.
I don't think anyone knows that. I go out and get my roundup on the grass that's growing in the cracks out there, because I don't want my driveway to go up. But nobody pays any attention to the alley. I mean, it is, I don't think people know that they have responsibility as part of the alley.
And that's where I come in at. And I come in with courtesy. I try to do the courtesy letters to forewarn them first ahead of time. Just to do it as an educational form of information. And then that's when we come back with the enforcement after that.
We're ready for you again. Lockmore and Darmani.
What? Again?
I know.
I had to write tickets on that street. What? On both sides.
She's not.
What's
It's just
happening?
my neighbors are just.
I'm sorry, VRBO?
But I will say, I had reported, the bulk trash out. And the guy called me the next day, like I reported on Sunday, and he was out there on Monday. I was so pleased. And the owner, some renters had moved out, and the owner had guys out there and cleaned it up the same day, and your guy was like, we're out here, but we don't see it. And I'm like, and I was off at work, I'm like, oh my God, it's gotta be there, it was huge. And other people were adding to it, and anyway, I appreciated that, the quick response, because I know all we ever do at this meeting is tell you problems. And that was a good thing. So that's kind of out of control on our street right now, is people just put their junk.
Lockmore and Darkney? Where?
Oh, I'm talking about, that's the alley
Yeah.
between Lockmore and on 3200 block.
Okay.
This is bad.
Well, there's 3330 Newcastle at Webb Chapel, and his bushes, the entire length of his property, have grown outside the retaining wall.
Where's
So
this?
You can't walk on it.
3300 block of Newcastle.
3330 Newcastle.
3330
Yes.
Newcastle. Overgrown vegetation.
Yeah, it's growing outside his retaining wall, into the sidewalk, and, unless you want to touch the cars as they pass, you can't walk on that sidewalk. And it's the whole length of his property to the alley.
Different kind of dog.
Maybe Linus and Gertrude's.
That is Linus.
Yeah.
It's Linus's.
Yeah, it is.
You actually know.
So y'all can just call Linus and just
But
tell
he
him to cut it?
responds, he responds really well to code enforcement,
Of
so.
course.
Really mean.
Have they ever been a pace or alley from Hartwell to Butcher Street or Kankakee?
I can't answer if they're gonna pave it, but that would be something that you bring up with council to see if they can put that in
Yeah,
there.
because it's getting real bad. And then we have a lot of, we have a lot of neighbors that have not cleaned their back alleys.
And what's the
And it's
street?
between,
Between Hartwell and Harwich?
Kankakee.
You're saying Harwich and
Harwell.
Harwell.
Is that Harwell?
This is right, yeah, right here.
It's like Harwell's one block street.
What's happening there? They have a lot of people are not taking care of the back of the alleys.
Weeds.
We have one, and I don't remember her address, but she
Got
has
it.
a lot of,
Thank you.
a lot of grass behind her, and I'm afraid because her gas meter is right there and you cannot see it. It's already all underwater.
Okay.
Oh, even the grocery store, that resolves the problem. Andy and I are trash sizers, we pick up as we go along, and there's too much at the houses there to even bother. I mean, they just throw the bottles out in the front yard,
Oh,
cans, whatever.
what address is that?
In the middle of that block, it's Harwich, across from school.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Oh, I have one house, now you're on.
Because his fence is falling apart too.
There are two houses there in a row. That have just, the front yards are so bad, I hate that one around.
Well, we should note the address and send
I never paid attention
LaShawn.
to
Yeah.
But I think they're parking on the lawn too over there on that house.
Like somewhere around 9922.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It is about the middle.
Yeah, I couldn't- two of them, right?
Yes, as I say, we.
So somebody's gonna do the address and send it to Mr. Marcha, and Mr. Marcha's gonna send it to me by email, right?
See, Barbara and Walk, yes, we take by.
We'll look at it.
You know, look at it. Actually, you know what? I have cards.
You can shrink
How
it
about
down
that?
maybe and give your.
Yeah,
If I give you cards,
phone
and
number.
then everybody can
Phone number for
email it
code.
me directly. How about that?
Excellent. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
You take texts?
Yes.
Have we heard any more about when Lockmore's gonna be open, the alley for trash pickup?
Okay,
It's been
let's
4 or 5
ask
years.
LaShawn
Okay, one more time.
about that.
The back alley on Lockmore, the first block from
Right.
Webb Chapel
But you know
to
which one it is,
Harwich
because it actually
has
shows
been
the-
closed for garbage pickup. Supposedly, the alley needed to be cleaned up and all that, and it looks like it has been, but it's been 4 years better now, and, you know, we still have to truck it all out in the front yard. And
That would be a sanitation question, and there, I can give you the number for sanitation to contact them for that question.
Yeah.
Or y'all, anyone want to take down a number for sanitation?
I'll take it.
You bet.
The number for sanitation is 214-670-3495.
And then the addresses were 9916 Harwich and 9910 Harwich.
9916 and 9910 Harwich.
Yeah.
And that was for the litter and the parking in the yard.
No, that's where, that they have all that trucks in the back that they haven't cut the grass.
Gas meters covered.
But it's an alley, it's an alley issue.
It's in the alley.
It's all encompassing.
All in company.
They're not
Yeah.
taking care of it.
Yeah, front and back, basically.
Okay. Here's the young man. Go ahead.
This isn't exactly Bradford Estates, but it's District 6.
Oh, I didn't know.
It's northwest.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
So, concrete batch plants over there between Spangler and Lunar Road on the other side of Walnut Hill. There's a clustering of concrete batch plants, and the council's about to adopt a SUP requirement. So does code have someone, because the requirements on those businesses are pretty strict. A lot of them are working without certificates of occupancy, and I've been told that it's a code compliance issue. And I know the TCEQ has regulations on that. Does code have someone, a specialist, because those TCEQ regulations are complicated? Do you have somebody that knows that and specializes on those kinds of things?
What code does, what we enforce is we go out to address, to verify if they have the certificate of occupancy. And if they do not have the certificate of occupancy, then we provide them the information where they need to go obtain it. Then that is issued by building inspections. They have the specialists, they go out and know those.
So if
regulations.
they're operating illegally, which they are, if they don't have a certificate of occupancy, right?
Right, but we have to give them that opportunity to go and apply for it, even if they're operating illegally, because we don't know that until we actually get there to verify it. So they're already operating.
So what's your system for doing that? Because there's, I called the District 6 office when there was a batch plant that was kicked out of West Dallas, basically.
Yes.
Went over to California Crossing. you
Yes.
know, if you're familiar with
1825.
that.
Yes.
And then the District 6 office got a code compliance person to go out there. They found 3 businesses because operating illegally without a CO there. And so what, code sweep, I mean, is there any way to get proactive, or do we have to go individually? I mean, how do we know? Plus, there are other things they have to do, but just in terms of just straight up simple, are they operating legally? How do we get, because we've been told by DWU, Sarah Standifer, they don't have the resources, and she said code, that's a code thing. Well, what do you do?
Okay, so what code does is just like NCR Slider said, we give them a notice if we find out that they don't have a certificate of occupancy. But when you talk about TCEQ, that is a totally different place. We don't go over there because, one, we're not specialists at all in that field. But what we do is we alert everybody, definitely about that California crossing, and even over there on Luna Road. Well, the attorneys are involved with all of that over there. Code's part in that, along with our nuisance abatement team, we send everybody over there. It's street X, Y, Z. It's it's 3 other streets over there, including Luna. Yes, we went over there. We issued everybody notices of violations. Then moving forward, anybody who did not come into compliance, then the part of what we do as far as if they didn't have a CO, if it's high weeds, all of the illegal dumping and all that kind of stuff. Well, co-compliance nuisance abatement team went in there and they cleaned it off.
When was that?
That was back in February.
Oh.
Yes.
And so how many violations did you find?
It was, memory serves right, it was 100 and, it was like 130, I want to say 130 lots, including the businesses that were there as well. Those that were in violation, like I said, we did a one-time courtesy as far as cleaning the trash and all that. Now it's back on the property owners and business owners. Nuisance abatement goes through there, and so does my officer. Go through there, if they find any violations, we immediately issue tickets, and we immediately send it over to our nuisance abatement team if they don't clean it up, and they'll do that. But as far as the batch companies and things of that sort, that is something that we need to, like, the attorneys are involved in certain ones, not all of them, but certain ones, because that goes beyond our purview. Because we're not a specialist in that as it relates to floodplains, what all they need to do what they're doing. We are not versed in that at all. So no, we can be proactive with no CO. We can be proactive with the litter, high weeds, but as it relates to the other part of it, we can't touch it because we don't know it. We just send them over there where they need to go, and then building inspections, when they go through the whole process, then they alert everybody that has an interest, as far as the city department, that has an interest in them coming into compliance, then they'll take it from there.
Well, that's really good news that you all did that. I didn't know it because it's huge concern environmentally. And that would be a great thing to know in the newsletter, because I don't think people know that there are 126. I mean, there's like Dodge City over there.
Yes, it's a lot. I've gone through there.
Environmental issue.
Wow.
They're raising out of the floodplain.
Correct.
They're getting new COs. It's flooding the parks over there on Luna Road. And to know that you all are on it would be great to know.
Yes,
because
sir.
the assumption I have had is that it's a wasteland and the city doesn't care.
Yeah, no.
Because they cluster there.
It is. It is. I've been all up and down those streets. I sat for a while just to see what I could see.
Oh, that's great.
It was a lot over there, and I wouldn't have believed anyone if they had told me that it was a City of Dallas Park right across the street. I was like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, so we are doing that proactively. They're going through there. They monitor that every week. It's monitored every day. Code heads, Northwest Code, my officer has so many days, and then our nuisance abatement team have so many days to go through there. And anytime violations are identified, such as the litter, high weeds, or whatever, then we get on it really quick, because
The hair's
everybody
standing
is.
up on my arm. I'm so excited about this. Seriously.
I wrote all this down, also the streets, so I can follow up with the
attorney's office? Because
That's
we have
where-
all those issues in West Dallas. also.
Yeah, they're out here and it's big
Yeah.
time.
And you can get with Stormwater, Bristol Merritt, you can get with him as well.
Stormwater, that's the
Yes.
thing, because they're elevating.
Right. Yes,
Stormwater.
yes, because they have a responsibility over there too. I've had the opportunity to speak to them about it, so it was going a little too in depth for me. I was like, okay, hurt my brain. But yes, so we're collaborating in that effort over there in that area. You really are. You're welcome.
Yes, I greatly appreciate Ms. LaShawna, Ms. Hayes. Coming and talking. We really do appreciate coming. Help keep our food looking nice. Sure, Ms. Hayes has a few more words she'd like to tell us.
As far as the Harwell, I'm already on Harwell, so I'll go on the opposite side and I'll take a look. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Marco here. Marco, do you have anything you'd like to say?
I mean, as of now, nothing really new other than redistricting. The final map was sent to, approved today, it's sent to, well, approved by the commission, sent over to mayor to be approved by the council members within probably a month. You can go to Dallas redistricting and see the map. You're still in our district.
Oh, okay, that was going to be my question.
So you're totally fine. In Northwest, it's mostly the east border that changes a little bit. You can go there. There are still amendments that they'll probably make. So if, yeah, that's still minor things that might change, but mostly that is changed.
To get on the newsletter, they'd like to get on the newsletter?
Yes, yes, so I have my card here, so just,
Well, last time you took a photograph of the sign.
yes, and I've added.
Well, wait a second, but they're all, no, you need to give them yours, because you just check yours in. You don't have your email obvious there.
That's right.
So,
Yeah, but the other emails that were here last time, I've added them.
yeah, which is good. But yeah, the newsletter is lengthy, but it has
Yes.
a lot of information about District 6, and a lot of it's helpful information.
Thank you. That's pretty much it.
Okay. Now, we would like, last time Kim brought up those city bond projects, the alleys that we're going to get done. Now, we know that Lynn Venner got her alley repaved. That's very nice, but that was part of the water district, and that's water reclamation. So as I understand, we still have an alley, at least one block of alley that we're going to get, and then one block of street that
Okay.
we need to get. Tim?
And this was, I'm sorry, earlier I was taking notes, it was Alley from Lockmore.
Yeah, it was
Alley.
Lockmore and Darvani.
He's talking about the alley. I'm sorry.
What are the other?
There's 3,300 blocks.
For what? What are we talking about?
Well, that's-
You didn't repay or like trash.
Oh, why aren't we, yeah, we're gonna get a pickup.
Okay,
We have,
well,
that 3,300 block has to go to the front yard.
so it's, I'm sorry, Lockmore from, what are the?
Webb Chapel to Harwick.
That's trash pickup.
3,300 block.
Okay, but I would love.
It's the south side.
You should say now.
Yeah, I have, me and Loretta walked north of Walnut Hill in that neighborhood, and it's a newer neighborhood. They've got nicer streets, they got nicer alleys, but they're still getting their alleys improved. And there's one under improvement right now, which I would like. I mean, their alleys are nicer than our streets.
Yes.
Yeah, what about the streets?
The paving needs to be done
Yeah.
between Lockmore and Darvani from Dillcrest to Harwich.
It's gotta go all the way through to the block. The alley's in this
Well,
neighborhood.
it should, yeah, but he's saying we get one, we were approved for
There were in
one.
2017, we had 2 alleys and they were floating. And remember,
Oh, it's
Johnson and I
the
told us,
river every.
well, it's the time because there's money unless it's been reprogrammed.
I'll ask and see
Okay.
what
I
streets
mean, I don't know if
or what
mine's
alleys are.
worse, but it literally, like, I
Oh.
can drive to my house.
Now, I did a survey
What
of,
we can do is we can send it to be in the needs assessment of, you know, whatever bonds and all that jazz.
I did a survey of the alleys to determine which were the worst, and all of them are the worst. So we'll just take whichever two.
There should be 2017 bond money for alleys and this has been reprogrammed, not even wasted.
Okay, thank you, Marco. Appreciate you coming out here. Do we have anything else we'd like to discuss? Yes, Tim?
On parks, just a little park update as the park board representative for the district. You may have noticed that Gretchen is,
Excuse me, we can't hear him. We can't hear him, please.
Please listen to Tim.
Yes.
and the aquatic center that's going in at Bottom Lake Park, the director said last Thursday that it looks like it might be late summer, but knowing the way the aquatic centers went in the first phase, I wouldn't be surprised if that gets put off until next season. So there's a possibility that we'll have an aquatic center at Bachman by the end, later in the summer, but that project's had issues with permitting and things, so it may not be open until next spring. The next to that is the $4 million skate park that's in the final design phase, so they should be coming out to the community, and I'll send you a notice when we find out when they're going to have the community meetings for the final, to show us what that looks like. They've had several, so they've taken the community input, and so there should be a community meeting in the next few weeks with the designers of the skate park.
Well, I can envision a skate park, and I kind of know what that would look like. In fact, there used to be a skate park out there like 2 decades ago.
That skate park generated 2 national champion skateboarders.
Oh, really?
So that was something I learned in the process.
Oh,
And the last thing for me is finally, I've been trying for 3 years at Bachman. I don't know if you go to Bachman, but there's been a horrible problem in the parking lot west of the pavilion. And I got pictures of the hundreds of beer bottles from a few weeks ago. And they've increased the enforcement. They have park rangers out there on 2 shifts, and the city marshals, the park department's hired marshals so they can arrest people. And there have been several arrests. But even so, in the 3rd week of the increased enforcement, I have pictures of somebody had, there's hundreds of beer bottles where they, and then the burnouts. And so the answer, I've always said, is to have a continuous presence in these high volume times so that we can, like an ambassador or something, or a assigned park ranger to spot this stuff before it builds up. And I was told last week that in the new budget, they're going to have a full-time person, a 40-hour week for that in the peak season to be at Bachman. Because there's also problems with feeding the birds, and also one at White Rock. So
Are there trash cans there for people to put stuff in, or just not doing it?
I'll show you. You want to see the picture? It's unbelievable. The trash can is full of beer cases of Corona, and then there's like 5 cases around it in 4 different spots. I mean, it's insane what's going on. It's inexcusable. And the reason I've always said is because we don't, the park department have a continuous presence there. You can drop in, helicopter in, and then so that, I think we're in the budget to get that. So that's really good news, it seems to me. So that's a park department update.
Can you describe what the aquatic water park would have?
Oh, it's a regional center, so it's going to have a floating stream thing and the slides and 4-lane lap pool, a children's pool. It's the biggest thing they do, a regional aquatic center. There are 4, and Bachman is the last of the 4 that we were put in. Actually, we were scheduled to go to the next round in 2024, but Councilman Narvaez, when he came in, he used $4 million of his discretionary bond money, and Councilman Medrano did $2 million to make it happen this time. So that's
good. Marco, will you tell Omar thank you for that?
He just texted me right now, so I'll let him know. He was on his way here early. I'm a little late because I was helping him. He had something happened to his wheel, so we had to go and take his car to the shop here. Up the streets.
Okay, good.
Right? I'm like,
Yes, Michael.
Anybody interested, Friends of Bachman Lake, Preston Hollow Bicycles, and Bike DFW are holding a free bike event at Bachman Recreation Center this Saturday, 1 to 3. Bring your bike, get it tuned up, get it checked out, ride around the lake, meet local artists, just have a little leisure time. So it's the first time we're doing that at Bachman Lake Park. And if you want more information, it's go to friendsofbachmanlake.org or Friends of Bachman Lake Facebook page, and you'll get more details there. Secondly, if you've noticed that you've only had like 3, 4, 5 hours sleep at the most because airplanes are taking off at all hours of the night, not just during the scheduled times. So a lot of that requires a lot of voices to file complaints. We live near an airport, we know it, we knew it coming in. The problem is the schedules are getting tighter and tighter close to 11 o'clock, and Southwest in particular is not meeting those schedules. Their planes are 1, 2, 3 hours late. So when the quiet hours are supposed to be between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m., suddenly 2 a.m. flights give you 4 hours of quiet. So Love Field says they can't do anything about it, it's an FAA thing. That's a half-truth. So I'm going to send Andy an email to a link that he can share with everybody. And it's a simple file a complaint, what time, who are you, would you like to be contacted? And I think the more we get that, especially at the odd hours, it's not so much that it's an airport and they can't have flights. No, there's a runway that's still closed. But the thing is that when they open that second runway back up, they have no intention of reducing the flights on that runway nearest. They're looking at amping up flights for private jets and all that construction they're doing. So who knows what they'll be scheduling and at what hours. So they're leaving it up to the airlines and the operators to be courteous, but there's no enforcement act. And the FAA, they say the FAA ties their hands, but they also refuse to do studies that the FAA can help them pay for through the fees they collect. So there's a little bit of talking out of both sides, and we don't want to get whiplash with all this jazzy talk from the airport. We want people to be active, to file complaints because it's a health issue, it's an environmental issue, and when they reopen that other runway, to not even consider increasing the ones on Lebanon Avenue, because that really is cutting into our quality of life.
I'll bet you have the noise complaint number memorized, don't you?
I don't have the number. We just leave the page open on the web, and as soon as the link flies,
They're like really smart, right? So you fill in your address and you put in the flight number, that's a noise complaint that they're loud and low, and you put in your email, and I put it in the comments, you put the flight number, click go. And by the time you do that, the next plane is there. So you just refresh your page, new flight number, click go. Do it again and again. I said 9 in a row.
well, we track those, so you don't have to be that sophisticated. But here's the thing, like, for instance, Southwest scheduled planes at 10:45, 10:55 p.m. because they have a gentleman's agreement not to schedule anything at 11 or later. Well, it's like saying 10:59. Well, that plane is about 40 to 45% late, and over 38% of the time it's late more than 30 minutes. So you're already crossing into hours where it's supposed to be a courtesy time. We understand emergencies, we understand operations have to happen 24/7. But when an airline schedules something that they're not even good at keeping on time, then you have to question what the airport can do from fees, landing fees, and disincentivizing airlines from scheduling something they can't even meet.
I always thought the city or whoever was getting fees for that. And
The airport does. They just don't want to disclose what they are, and they say they can't discriminate,
how do
which
they
is true.
dislike it? Because that's money in their bank.
I say anything after 10 o'clock costs you more.
Right.
It's not preventing you from operating. But if you operate certain hours, then there's a fee involved. But they say
Yeah.
they can't do that. They can't discriminate. You can do it.
I attended that meeting, that virtual meeting that you sent us a link to last time.
None of that is because we're teetering on the thing of advocacy and lobbying.
Right.
You know, we can't influence legislation.
yeah,
But we can gather people up to kind of say, okay, you need to talk to people and you need to let your voices heard. So we can encourage people to do that because quality of life also affects Bachman Lake. The reputation that this area has as undesirable is because of things like that. People don't want to move here, and then the park doesn't get used or it gets misused because people don't want to live here. So that's the larger picture where Friends of Bachman Lake kind of draws the border, but it's up to everybody who lives here, knowing they live near an airport. It's a little bit of a disrespectful abuse of the hours and the time that airlines choose to schedule, knowing they can't keep those schedules.
Councilman Narvaez is the chair of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee on the council that's over most airport issues. So
Yeah.
if you were of a mind to call or whatever, our guy is a powerful person in that realm.
70% on time is considered pretty bad in the airline industry. This thing is worse.
Yeah,
It's an LA flight, it's a Lubbock flight, it's every night, and it's always late.
There's about 9 of them scheduled at 10:55.
I attended that link that you sent out, in which I sent out to the Bradford Estates, and was the thing, and what you just said is that it is a gentleman's agreement. There's no legal enforcement for the planes not to fly certain hours, and so really the only thing we have is kind of our letting them know with our voices that we don't want late flights and we don't want that noise. And I so if you send me that link, I'll send it out and I'll encourage people to
You should have
call.
it. And it's a little bit of a double-edged sword too, right? Because we want development from the Walnut Hill train station eastward, where we can have, live, work, play, everything that we can, besides all that concrete and warehouses and empty spaces. So the airport's using that against us, saying, well, we don't want to do a study about this noise because you might not like the results. We might say that you can't use that land, or we might have to acquire it. But there's a lot of things you can do with land that doesn't involve people living in it. You can green it up, you can do, all kinds of retail, all kinds of things that'll happen. So I'm not an expert, I'm not an engineer, I'm not even...
Well, but you are looking out for us. Send me that link, I'll send it out, and I appreciate your watching
It's
that.
just getting annoying, and it's affecting your sleep. It really is.
Yeah.
Well, they need to have their bluff called.
Yeah. Let me just add one more thing. San Diego is a single runway airport. Flies 18 million people a year, even internationally. Single runway airport. So Love Field doesn't really need 2 runways. They do half that traffic. So they can close a runway overnight, except for emergencies, if they so choose, because they're not closing the airport, they're not discriminating against operators, and they're keeping the airport open, and in the event of safety, that
Who's
runway.
getting the payoff on this then, having all these runways? Where's it going?
What's that?
Who's getting the payoff then for having?
Well, the airport has its own little autonomous entity, so we don't know.
They don't answer.
They don't answer to us. They answer to the traveling public, and they're contemplating new entrants north, near Bachman Lake, so that they can accommodate people from Frisco and Denton and all of those areas. It's not about us.
And so just for that, I know that Councilmember is currently working behind the scenes to stop the north entrance.
Okay.
So he's
I thought it was too.
It stopped from construction, but it was still
It's still
out
in the
there.
plans, yeah.
So he's actively working it.
It's like the roar, it's ugly head before anybody knows about it.
So that's why he really wants to make sure that it's killed before he's out of office, because whoever comes after him, then they can just reopen it and be like, oh, let's go.
You need to cut it off.
Yeah.
Cut off the legs.
And the park board unanimously passed a resolution against the north entrance because of the adverse effect it'll have on Brockman Lakes Park. And that was a unanimous resolution. It's just a resolution, of course. In the community meetings, when we've spoken out and pressed Mark Diebner, the director of aviation, on the issues we have, he finally, frustrated, told the truth and said, my job is to take care of my traveling passengers and the people who lease space from us on the airport, period. Despite their quarterly good neighbor meetings they have that are one-way meetings where they curate the questions they decide to answer, he finally told the truth. So that's an issue that you should just keep in mind.
It's too bad
They
they
tell
can't
us
have a
constantly they
license.
can't invest in anything off the airport grounds. Well, the airport owns a strip shopping center on Walnut Hill, down there where Webb Chapel, is right down here. They have a strip shopping center. It's not on the tax rolls, so the rent from that goes into the airport coffers. And we asked him the one in-person meeting that he had, this outreach meeting, this fake outreach meeting they have. And he goes, what are you doing owning a shopping center? You tell us that you can't invest in anything off the airport grounds, and we ask you for all this other stuff. He goes, I don't know, done before I got here. And so it's they do talk out of both sides of their mouth, and the bottom line, they're arrogant, in my opinion, and they don't answer anybody. They're an enterprise fund. They don't need to come to the council for funding. They do what they want and pretend to care about the community, in my opinion. And you know me, I'm kind of a cynic.
Too bad they can't do like Addison did and do a tunnel. And do a west, too bad they can't do like Addison did and do a tunnel and just west entrance it.
They've excused all of that. They've excused it all.
Yeah.
Poorly.
That came up, the tunnel was proposed.
Because that roadway looks like it would handle it really well.
Why don't we just tear up Mockingbird Lane right in front of the airport entrance where they?
They've done that.
There's all kinds of things that they don't even hire engineers to study. They're like, oh, well, we'll
Yeah,
have
but
to
if
take
no
up
one goes down
utilities.
Mockingbird to get in the damn airport, they're gonna be in trouble.
The key is that there's private land that was purchased on the north side near Bachman Lake that they're eyeing for. So there's some interest in there that we have no idea what that's about.
Other motivations.
Talk about incentives. So, yeah, I mean, it's not we're anti-airport and everything. I love airplanes. I've been in the
Yeah.
industry for a long
It
time.
is a convenience.
It's the abuse. It's the abuse and the disrespect for this neighborhood in particular that, oh, they won't say anything, they won't do anything. The part of the study they don't want to do helps fund things like insulation for schools and libraries and key businesses under the flight path. And they're like, well, we can't do that because, all our money's allocated. It's like, you collect fees for every passenger that boards a plane. That's in perpetuity. So don't tell me that you ran out of money. This money's collected constantly. So it's those kinds of things that they give us these answers. It's kind of like when the flight attendant says, well, you have to put your left shoe on your right foot because, well, the FAA said so. It's like, you don't question it because it's the FAA, but it's like, you know what? I don't think you're telling me the truth. So they went before a commission, an environmental commission appointed by the council. And they actually said that they couldn't do the study, that it didn't allot for things like insulation and things like that. Well, some of them pushed back and said, oh yes, you can, it's right here, and they were reading it. So they did a Part 150 search under the FAA.
I used to have a condo on
They
Hidalgo.
caught them in a lie.
The condo on Hidalgo, and we're getting the washing machine put in. All of those condos have double layers of sheetrock in the walls.
Yeah, new construction, I think, has
This
to
was not
comply.
new, this was old, but it's amazing the difference that made in the walls.
In those meetings that Tim said, and I'm going to jump off because I'm getting hungry. In the meetings that Tim said, talked about the Good Neighbor program, they talk about these noise contours that they do, like these noise lines that they draw around the ends of each runway. It's like 65 decibels and over is this little contour here. I have a decibel reader I can hold in my backyard. It's like 73, 74, close to 80. And they never notified any of us at that runway closure. Oh, we gave notices to everybody within those noise contours. And our neighborhood is obviously left out.
We're not in the noise.
Right, we
We're
are.
not in their noise profile
Right.
even though.
That
So
came
I
out of
invite
the meeting.
anybody to volunteer their yards or whatever for some measuring equipment. Maybe they can do that. And it's like, come on, don't lie to us. It's one thing if it's something we can't do, but just don't treat us like little children.
Thank you.
Anyway, I yield the floor.
Okay.
Thanks.
Any other items we would like to bring up? I see nodding. Okay. The meeting is closed, so we will see you at the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you.